station. WTUG HD2 Northport and W265CG Tuscaloosa. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Alabama 1st and 10 on the 12. Again, Houston. He's got a hole. He's over. Alabama touchdown.
I'm just wondering if your listeners know how good a football player you were. I can still see you playing that fullback, knocking those players out of the way. And I believe I could have run behind you.
Martin, I can remember when we came to summer and you were playing fullback up there. And I saw you in the weight room and watched you work out in the weight room. If you were strong enough to pick up the whole weight room. I wanted to fix it, and our running back coach didn't take it. Biggest mistake we ever made.
The Martin Houston Show with national championship winning fullback Martin Houston, giving you 1 hour of intense, hard-hitting analysis from an insider's perspective. It's time for the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9, and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Good evening and welcome into the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier, powered by MaXSports. We got a great show lined up for you. We have DC Capstone Report joining the conversation this morning. DC will be joining us to talk a little bit good, bad, and ugly. He'll be joining us to talk about did Saturday's performance embarrass you a little bit as an Alabama fan? We didn't really get to that with Kennington, so we'll talk about that. Was this competition, QB competition, ever really close? Jalen Milroe, we'll talk about him. Bama versus Ole Miss keys to victory. And a whole lot more. That's what we got lined up for you today. It is the Martin Houston Show, powered by MaXSports, the sound of Bama Sports. Your show, your team. Did Nick Saban take a calculated risk on Saturday? Was it a calculated risk? And will that calculated risk, if it was a risk, or whether or not it was a risk, will it still work out because of this right here? This, I want you to listen to this. This is a question that was asked of one of the players yesterday. And I want you to listen to it. And I want you to ask yourself, did the response to this question, I'm going to let you hear the question, and the response to this question, is this why this Alabama team could go on to do special things? Because if the answer to this question was different, could we be looking at feeling some of the woes of what we felt back in the Shula days? Because that's what I felt Saturday. I mean, I felt like, oh my goodness. Someone said, Martin, I lived through the Shula days. I lived through the Franchione days. I said, listen, I've also had bad financial problems before, but I don't want them again. So here's a question that was asked of J.C. Latham.
What did Jalen Milroe's leadership look like on the sidelines during your guys' game last Saturday?
I mean, it was a great job by him. I know a lot of guys in that position throughout a lot of different levels who, especially once you have a starting job at a premier school like the University of Alabama, once you lose that job, it kind of does something to your confidence and your morale. And he took it on the chin. He knew what he had to do to be better, and he's never brought negative energy on or off the field. He's held himself accountable. He's held all of us accountable, and he does what he has to do. So, I mean, yeah, it was a great example on what a leader is and what a leader needs to do, like through adversity, and how to be persistent.
That right there, we're going to break that down a little bit. We're going to add DC to the conversation, Xavier to the conversation, and add you to the conversation. 205-342-9904. That's the Alabama One hotline, or you can join us on the live stream under various platforms, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, amongst them, in at Martin Houston 35, Martin Houston fan page, Martin Houston 35 fan page, X's and O Sports, MaXSports, Tide 109, and we add DC Capstone Report to the conversation. So all of those live streaming there as well. So add your thoughts, comments, and questions in chats. And remember that this is a day that the Lord has made, so let's rejoice and be glad in it. Take some time today to notice someone, love someone, serve someone, be the difference you want to see in the world today. Good morning, X. How you doing, sir?
Good morning. How are you doing?
Doing well. Good morning, DC. How you doing?
Program this morning. Thanks for having me on.
Good. Hey, DC. I figured I'd start off. There was a players-only meeting yesterday, and those players-only meetings usually aren't because things are going great. But they can be galvanizing and they can be season-changing moments. And I was a part of one of those when we got beat 35-0 by Florida, and we went on to win the next 28 games, which encapsulated a national title and another SEC title. But that audio clip, did you hear? Could you hear it okay?
Oh, yeah, I did. I heard it.
So I'll start with you and let you respond. How big a deal did Saban take a calculated risk? Because the only thing I've found that makes sense is that he wanted to shut everybody up. Because it makes zero sense that you bench that guy after watching that game, unless he took a calculated risk. I watched Milroe's response. I watch all of this, but did the response to that question and how he handled that, did that save this team after that performance?
Yeah, I think you're onto something there, Martin. I guess I sat in my recliner watching that game, frustrated the way Alabama was playing, and frustrated at the decision that the coaches had made, and I was just, it was just a bad, ugly game to watch, and I couldn't believe the product that we were putting on the field that time. And I said to myself then, and I said to others that I was texting with during the game and different people, and how in the world could you make this decision? Look, this decision has affected the entire team. The way the whole offensive team is playing, just bad. And I believe this decision to bench Milroe affects this team. And I didn't, at the time, I was so caught up in the bad play that I didn't think that there could be, like you just suggested, that this was done on purpose because he wanted to shut up all the naysayers. And that's very possible. I had a guy text me that listens to my podcast and listened to my podcast yesterday, and he texted me a long text last night. And that was the exact theme of his text. Said, hey, hear me out. This sounds crazy, but what if? And he said just exactly, almost verbatim what you just said. So
he was listening to me on Ryan Fowler's show yesterday. I said he listened to me on Ryan Fowler's show yesterday.
He may have, but when you think about it, Martin, it's possible that's exactly true. Because I'm gonna say this, and you may say I'm wrong, or fans of Sports Saban may say I'm wrong, but Coach Saban rarely says something without having a reason to say it. And I felt like at the end of this that if he had actually made the decision that those other two quarterbacks were better than Jalen Milroe, that I didn't know what he was looking at, and that I didn't think he'd have enough pride to swallow. I didn't think he'd have enough gumption to swallow his pride and go back to Milroe. But man, not only did he go back to Milroe, he went back to Milroe so quick. And in that first press conference, to say, I want to go ahead and say this comment right now, and this is going to be it. They've all had a chance to play. You've all seen them. We've all seen them. Jalen Milroe did the best, and he's earned the right to be our quarterback. When he came out and said that yesterday, I thought that's what got me thinking. Well, maybe there was a purpose to this and all this that happened. And that yes, these team meetings are good gelling opportunities, and this could be the thing that pulls this team together. Because the exact one thing that I texted you and I texted some others on Saturday was, without Jalen Milroe on the field,
There was no leadership. There was no. It didn't look like any player on the offense was into the game, and that shouldn't be. And so there's a problem culturally there. And I think that team meeting needed to be in order to try to get that resolved. It sounds like, from listening to J.C. Latham, listening to Tyler Booker, that they came out of that meeting a lot closer knit team, knowing that Jalen Milroe was going to be their quarterback leading them. And I think that's significant, because I told you, how many weeks ago was it, Martin, that I told you that this quarterback race wasn't even close, that the players knew who the starting quarterback was. And I think they came out of that game. They were frustrated with the decision. They were frustrated with their play, and they were frustrated that they had no leadership on the field. And I think that all led to that meeting. And the question now is that meeting going to be the thing that is a catalyst that gets them into where they need to be in each and every game going forward? It could happen. It happened before in 2015. I think it could happen again.
Yeah, and I got a lot more I'm going to say. We're going to talk about that, and we may get to some of these other topics. But X, I wanted to let you respond to J.C. Latham. And has Saban dodged a bullet with the way he's handled quarterbacks simply because of the quality of the character of the players he's had in these battles? And Jalen Milroe is the latest one to show that.
I definitely think that it's the character of the young men that he's been able to recruit. Because for nothing to tear that team apart when you had Hurts and Tua going back and forth at it, and just the character that they showed and the love and respect that they had for each other tells me everything I need to know about them. And then you have a guy like Mac sticking around waiting his turn without being envious or jealous of that. And of course, Bryce has come along and see how he was raised and things of that nature. Jalen Milroe is the next guy in line. You watch how he responded after Ty led that first touchdown drive. That doesn't sound like a guy. That didn't look like a guy to me that when Greg McElroy came out yesterday and said he had a problem, he was a cancer in the locker room last week, bad attitude. Like that, what I saw there didn't prove that. The clip that we have seen over the last 24 hours from halftime of Jalen hugging and praying with Ty during halftime, that didn't look like a guy that cancer or trouble in the locker room. That looked like a guy that was there to support his teammates and be there for them. So I don't know where that narrative has gotten about Milroe and his attitude and things of that nature. I just
Saban. It's Saban. Every
he's driving that narrative.
Every negative feeling about Jalen Milroe comes from this coaching staff, all the way back to Texas A&M. If there's a different response to Jalen Milroe after Texas A&M, people feel better and different about Jalen Milroe. He's the only player I've ever heard get thrown under the bus publicly. Okay? Then you come in and you refuse to name this guy the starter. You refuse to name this guy the starter. And we're gonna talk about what was Saban's criteria for starter. Saban's criteria for starter, and we're gonna go to break after I make this statement, but I want you guys to think on this. Saban's criteria for starter was not that this guy needs to be the Bryce Young, Jalen Hurts, or Tua Tagovailoa. So Alabama fans, stop asking him to be Tua Tagovailoa, Jalen Hurts, or AJ McCarron. Saban gave a very specific criteria for this quarterback race. And it's obvious to anybody that saw practices, watched the games, and now I guess it's obvious to the coaching staff that there was one guy on this team that answered the criteria. But why didn't he get named the starter? We'll talk about it right here on your home for Alabama Sports, the Martin Houston Show with DC Capstone Report. That coming up next.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, no active wrecks, but paving work is slowing traffic on 2059 westbound from about mile marker 81 into 77. Now, if you see conditions, give me a call. Get $2, $5, up to $8,000 in instant savings on cars, trucks, and SUVs. Now, at Townsend Nissan, they're your family in the car business. And I'm Captain Ray.
Looking for somewhere to hang out and watch the Crimson Tide? Bring the whole gang and come down to Walk On Sports Bistro on Skyland. Watch the game on our 64 big screen TVs. Enjoy 42 flavors of craft beer, cocktails, plus great food and desserts. After the game, Walk-Ons will host Tide 100.9 and 95.3 The Bears live radio post-game broadcast featuring guest and Coach Nick Saban's post-game comments. The best place in town to watch the game and hang out after the game is Walk On Sports Bistro on Skyland Boulevard.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
It's a dry forecast for the rest of the week. Lots of sunshine today, the high 84. Tonight fair with the low at 60. For tomorrow and Thursday, mostly sunny both days. Highs between 84 and 87. And Friday, sunny, the high 86. I'm James Spann of the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 56 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
The sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team. The Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Look, I like the team. I got confidence in our team. I really do. You know, we've had some tough stretches before and players have bounced back, but I think everybody's got to make a commitment to doing that. And it's not easy. We got really tough competition coming up, but everybody's got to challenge themselves, I think, to be their best as a player, be their best as a team guy, be their best as a leader. And I've liked this group so far. I just think, you know, our execution has got to get a little more consistent.
That's Coach Nick Saban saying he likes this team. He thinks this team can do some good things. Well, I like this team too, but I think that there's some things that's happening that are destroying this team. And I think one of the biggest things was that you did not take a chance to galvanize this team and make it one. One of the things, DC, that Coach Saban has always said is that the players know who the best player is.
Yes.
Right? Okay. Now, what's the effect? We've now all seen. Now, a lot of you have seen what I had seen already. Okay. And guys, Dylan Lundgren wasn't any better. He just had a couple deep balls, which guess what is also Milroe's biggest strength. Okay. Lundgren is a gunslinger. Okay. But he didn't have the pocket awareness. He didn't have the escapability or any of that. So you've all seen what I had seen and what others had seen and what these players saw every single day. What would be the impact, DC, on you as a teammate if you saw what we witnessed the last few Saturdays, 3 Saturdays, and your leader was going out telling the world that the competition was close, but his definition wasn't for who was a great quarterback. What was the criteria for the starting quarterback for this year's team? The guy who gave us the best chance to win.
That's right.
Do you believe that this competition was ever even close? And do you think that either one of those other guys was in the same category as giving this team? Now, whether we win or not with Jalen Milroe is another question. I'm not saying we're going to win a national championship with Jalen Milroe. But your criteria was who gives this team the best chance to win. You've watched this offensive line. What we saw in the pass rush against Texas and against South Florida, unfortunately, is the same thing that we saw in scrimmages. Quindarius Robinson, Braswell, and Turner were unblockable, it appeared, against our O-line. And the only guy who could get away from that, and I tried to tell people, when you go in black jerseys, it's deceptive about the guy's escapability. It looks like Jalen Milroe can't get away from a pass rush any better than the other guys because they blow the whistle when somebody comes close. So the plays that Jalen Milroe would make kind of goes away sometimes in these scrimmages. Ty Simpson has zero pocket presence. All of that stuff you could see from scrimmage. But the criteria was who give you the best chance to win. Was that a question in your mind after Saturday? How did we see it after one Saturday? There was nothing. Everybody talking about, well, Ty ended up 5 for 9. He was 0 for 4. He had one pass where the guy was running wide open to the tight end. The other passes, even though he completed, weren't great passes. But I'm scared, man, that dude would have got his back broke against Texas. Your thoughts, DC?
Yeah, I hear exactly what you're saying, and I'd like to go back and respond to a little something that X just said a minute ago, because I don't want it to go unsaid what I know.
Yeah, go ahead.
But with all due respect to Greg McElroy, I don't think Greg McElroy knows what he was talking about. I actually heard from players that were in the locker room that I've heard from throughout this whole time that everything they've ever told me has been consistently the truth. That it had nothing to do with Jalen Milroe's attitude during the week. It had to do with the decision to bench the best player that they gave them the chance to win, that they knew was the best quarterback, and give somebody a chance that they felt in their mind was a poor decision. And it caused dissension among the players. It caused frustration among the players. And the only thing that Jalen Milroe did was, when he was initially told, he didn't understand. And Lord forbid, I wouldn't have understood if I had played the way I had played, and somebody and had been head and shoulders above the other people, and somebody told me I wasn't going to play this game, I was going to give somebody else a shot. I wouldn't have understood that. But he was not a cancer in the locker room. No matter what someone else will tell you, he was not a cancer in the locker room. There was a cancer in the locker room, but it wasn't Jalen Milroe. It was the seed that was planted by the leadership of the coaches making a poor decision to do that to a young man, to an offense. And I'm just going to be honest with you. That's what I heard. That's what I believe. That's what I saw on Saturday when they played.
DC,
yeah,
and I'll let X respond since he brought that up. But this was the follow-up question I was going to ask both of you guys. Listen to this. I asked someone. I said, I like what I do on the radio, and I do decent work on the radio. If you were to take me up to ESPN radio and put me up against, like, the Patricks of the world and some of those guys, and then tell them that there's a competition for the number one spot, and you keep telling the whole world that, and even though I could potentially catch them, I'm not there now, and everybody would know that, right? Everybody would see that. And for you to try to make me that by saying it, it doesn't matter what the reasons are. Everybody in that building knew what was proven on Saturday. Now, so I asked someone, how would you feel if you were clearly better than someone else, but your leaders kept telling you and the whole world that it was close? How would you respond? I said, most of us, we act like, guys, it was not close, especially based on the criteria.
And let me say this too, Martin, so that before X responds, I want to hear what he has to say too, but because I know he has the inside people that he talks to. It was not only just that decision, Martin, and I think there was more to it than that. The frustration boiled over from the Texas game, and it was from players who have been there in a while, that are in the know and knew what was going on, that realized, and I'm going out on a limb here, but I'm just going to go ahead and say it, that the play calling did not place the team or Jalen Milroe in a position to succeed. That they were asking him to do things that were not his strengths. If you play to his strengths, he can take this team on his shoulders and we can have a championship team. But if you continually place him in situations where he can't operate to his strengths, it's not fair. In other words, they saw a frustration from where they were put in a position, and then even got more frustrated when the fact was, hey, we're going to bench him, give somebody else a chance. And it didn't make any sense to the players. That's where all that dissension, that's where all that cancer, if you will, came from. Not from Jalen Milroe's attitude, not from the way you saw his attitude on Saturday. It was not that attitude at all. It was the fact that, hey, this is happening, and we don't understand why this is happening. And that's what I think. That if you want to place Jalen Milroe in a position to take advantage of it, then use his strengths. You call a game like you did that last drive for Ty Simpson. You didn't let him throw the ball. And let Jalen Milroe make the decision to pull that ball and run, and then you see a whole different side of the Alabama offense. That's just my opinion.
X.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think at the end of the day, with this situation, we saw what Brian Daboll wanted to do in 2017, and but this time Saban let Tommy Rees see it, and Tommy Rees, Buckner and Simpson ain't Tua. I think this is what happened. I think Rees was like, we see the struggle, he see it, blah blah blah, give him a shot, blah blah. We just lost, what can it? And the bed was cracked. I think that's really what happened with this situation. And I agree, like the cancer issue in this locker room is not one Jalen Milroe, but as DC said, what happens when you plant seeds that everybody else sees is false and not correct. And it starts with Coach Saban. This ain't just a Tommy Rees thing or anybody. Coach Saban gave zero faith or belief until yesterday. That's the first time we've heard him go, Jalen is my guy. Jalen is who we're going to build around. This is what we're going to do moving forward. And it took 3 weeks into the season to get that. And that is wrong to Jalen and all the work that he's put in and all the work that his teammates have seen. From what we've heard of them working out together over the summer, training together over the summer, building rapport and all these things. Now build the offense to suit him, to his strengths. And once you do that, that gap is going to explode, in my opinion. But if you keep trying to fit a square peg into a round hole, you're setting him up for failure.
Yep. And I'm going to respond to that, but I need to get Jamal, who's been patiently waiting. Jamal from Ohio, you're in on the Alabama Morning Hotline. What's on your mind, sir?
Good morning, gentlemen. How you doing today?
Doing good, sir. You?
I don't know, man. Martin, real quick, I just got a couple points. First off, I want to say I admirably agree with X. Nick Saban is the head of the snake, right? And I don't know what he did Saturday was to prove a point to Tommy Rees, or was it? I don't know if you guys seen the assumption that he was under concussion protocol, which I didn't believe because he was dressed up.
It wasn't.
I feel like Saban is the head of the snake, and it's like he's just blindly just leading his team into an abyss of never returning. And I just don't understand. Even watching Nick Saban on the sideline, you could tell like his reaction, his complacency, his passion doesn't seem to it just doesn't seem to be there. And I just want to get your guys' opinion on that.
DC, respond quickly, and then we'll respond on the other side too. And I agree with you, by the way. All right, I'm not sure, we may have lost. We lost DC, so we'll get to break. Jamal, you're nailing it. You're right. Everything rises and falls on leadership. And I told everybody the following. I told someone, why didn't anybody talk about Bryce Young being benched when he threw 2 interceptions in his first game? You know why? Because Frank Reich, after 1 week of seeing this guy in camp, he said, this guy gives my team the best chance to win.
Right. And I think, and Martin, I'll let you know.
Named him. Do it now and name him the starter.
Right, and I know you got to go, but I just feel like obviously people, you don't even have to know football to see that Jalen Milroe is the best person to get this team to where we need to be. And I think Saban just allowed that block to fall under us, and the foundation is coming down right before our eyes.
Ooh, I asked the question: is the dynasty over? Do we need to call 911? Saturday made me say I had my phone out and it dialed in. I didn't press the red button, but I had it dialed in. Thanks, Jamal. We'll be back on the other side with more conversation right here on the Martin Houston Show. We have great sponsors, Billy's Cooking Restaurant. Hey, listen, if you're planning to have a big get together this weekend, you need to go ahead and make plans to get that from get those party trays from Billy's Cooking Restaurant. Billy's Cooking Restaurant has 3 levels of party platters, which includes wings and ribs. Just give them a call, 205-632-8617. They're open Wednesday through Friday. Stop by there tomorrow at 11 and tell him what you need, and he'll have it ready for you on Friday. That's on Saturday. That's Billy's Cooking Restaurant. Fish Friday, Soul Food Sunday. And tomorrow is also Wing Wednesday, 50-cent wings. More when we come back.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan traffic center, no active wrecks, but paving work is slowing traffic on 2059 westbound from 81 into 77. Now, if you see conditions, give me a call. Get $2,000, $5,000, up to $8,000 in instant savings on cars, trucks, and SUVs. Now, at Townsend Nissan, they're your family in the car business. And I'm Captain Ray.
Hey, Mark, just stopped in to say hey, and whoa, the phones are ringing off the hook. Safe to say business is going pretty well.
Yeah, word of mouth kept us afloat after we opened, but then there was a little bit of a lull. But it finally feels like we've been getting a steady flow of new customers over the past few months.
So what have you been doing? It definitely seems to be working.
Thanks. We needed to be able to be found where people are searching, and today that means being found online.
How'd you pull that off? That sounds complicated.
No, it was easy. I went to townsquarelocal.com to see how many people were searching for my business in Tuscaloosa. Then the experts at Townsquare helped me build my online presence so my business can be found exactly when and where customers are looking.
That's amazing. Do you really think they can help me too?
Absolutely. Go to townsquarelocal.com to find out.
Go to townsquarelocal.com for a local customer analysis that will show you how many Tuscaloosa customers are searching for your services online. It's quick, easy. Get your business found online by visiting townsquarelocal.com today.
Hi, this is Dr. Brad Schaefer. As a podiatrist, I can tell you no two people's feet are alike, which is why I recommend Dr. Scholl's custom fit orthotic inserts. They're customized for your feet, so you get a unique solution your feet really need, not just a one-size-fits-all insole. They're clinically proven to provide pain relief for achy feet, knees, lower back, plantar fasciitis, and heels. Take the Dr. Scholl's Custom Fit Orthotics Assessment in Walmart today, now in the foot care aisle.
When kids master math and reading at Kumon Learning Centers, they also gain discipline, independence, and confidence. Give your child an academic advantage by enrolling them in Kumon's math and reading program this fall and save. Every child learns at a different pace. With an individualized Kumon learning plan, you can set your child up for a lifetime of success. Start with practice at Kumon. Enroll today and save up to $80. Call 1-800-ABC-MATH.
Interact with the Martin Houston Show by calling us at 205-342-9904 or tuning into the Martin Houston Show on Facebook.
100 yards rushing to Kentucky.
Jones given time by that excellent offensive line.
Get him loose. I think tonight's going to be his night.
They fake it to him and they flip it to the speedy Waddle. Weaving through the traffic and out near national championship game against Clemson when Kiffin parted ways with Saban. Waddle
right here on the inside.
Mac Jones given time has his man. This will depend on the spot.
In a wheel route, a little crossing route.
They fake it to Harris. They send it out to Devontae Smith. It looks like he has him
in this Alabama offense.
He swings it out wide. Devontae Smith with blockers. There's a flag down. He went into the end zone for a touchdown.
For those of you who may not be able to see that, just ran a few clips back from Alabama versus Ole Miss, game number 1 back in 2020 versus Lane Kiffin. And DC, in that particular drive, the first thing you heard the announcer say is Mac Jones given time by that offensive line. And then the next clip was they brought Waddle across the field in motion and they flipped him the ball on the little shuttle pass, like little flip pass with him coming across. The next one was a crossing route, which put several different routes crossing the quarterback's face. Then they went and ran like a wheel route. Then they ran 2 bubble screens, one to the left and one to the right. You notice anything about that play calling?
Yeah.
It favored the quarterback.
Yeah.
Who was a bona fide passer. They still gave him easy passes to complete.
Yeah.
Right?
They put him in the best possible position to be successful.
So going back to the Texas game, we're talking about his response and all of this stuff, okay? Let me tell you about a response that no Alabama fans are talking about, DC. When you have a quarterback who makes mistakes, I want somebody to go back and tell me one quarterback that doesn't do what Jalen Milroe did. Interceptions can hurt your team, but they don't necessarily cost you the game unless you don't respond well. So we're it's 0-0, right? And we throw an interception and Texas gets 3 points. What did Jalen Milroe do on the next drive? Took the team down and we got a field goal, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
So
Responded well.
So what's the score now?
Tied up 3-3.
0-0. Same as it was before he threw the interception.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then he proceeds to take his team down. The defense and now we're 13 to 13-3?
Yep.
And then he makes it 13-6. And then it's 13-9. And then it's 16-13.
That's right.
What happens after
It very
16?
easily could have been 27-13. Or
I'm not even talking about
it should have been 24-13.
I'm not even talking about the ones coming off the board. I'm going to show people something right here. 16-13, right?
Correct.
What immediately happened?
To give up a touchdown drive.
It made it what? 20
touchdown drive.
Hold on. No. That made it 20 what?
See.
20 to 16.
2016.
He came out, he threw an interception, right?
Correct.
Made it 27. That's on him. Now it's 27-16. What did Jalen Milroe do the next drive?
Took him down the field, threw a deep ball for a touchdown.
And made it what? 27.
24.
So he threw an interception and got it right back and put the score right back where it was at.
Yeah,
27.
Responded well to both of his interceptions.
But here's the point. He put his team right back where they were before.
Yeah.
So we were down 20-16. And then we were down 27-16 because of his interception. And then he put us right back where we were in a position to win the game.
Yeah, and he did what Coach Saban always teaches: you play the next play. You don't let that play bother you. He did. He came back and showed he still throw the ball.
He showed you that he can make plays. 27 to 23. That's not counting the points that came off the board. Some people say, well, one of them should have been an interception. Well, but it wasn't. But it should have been a touchdown too. If it wasn't a penalty. No one talks about the fact that this guy has gotten 2 touchdowns on snaps that rolled to him. But 27 to 23, when you have been dominated at the offensive line and the defensive line, DC, you've been dominated.
Mm-hmm.
Name a quarterback on that roster that would have us in that game.
Nobody else.
The only one was the guy who was playing. And you reward him by making him take the brunt of the media and the fans by benching him.
And that's where the frustration came from the players who see what's going on. I know we media people, I don't even count myself a media person, but media people don't really see what's going on inside, and the fans don't do it. I told you before, we have the most fickle fans in America at Alabama. They don't know what's going on inside, but those players do, and that's why they responded frustrated like they were.
Mm. Yeah, and so let's get to Alan. Alan, you're in with Martin and Xavier and DC on the Alabama One Hotline.
Good morning. Well, I got my trucks. I told you I got 5 trucks, and all 5 of them still ready. The offense coordinator, he's ready to go. I got his name on it. Everything just ready to go. Just need to tell him where he want to go. I don't care where he go. He just need to get the heck out of Tuscaloosa. I don't care. And right now, with the defense the way it is, it'd be a good time to bring Pruitt in, let him sit out his year, or I go back to the NCAA and see can we get his time cut in half, do something. I don't care what we do with it. Xavier, I need you, bro. I need you. The quarterbacks we got right now, okay, we're gonna put you behind Milroe. We know you don't know the play, but you just ad lib, just do what you got to do when you get in there. If something happened to Milroe, because the 2 we got right now are no good. So just do your thing when you get in there, if you get a chance to get in there. And my question to y'all is this, being serious, do y'all think that Buckner was told that he would get the starting job, or he would actually get a good chance if something ever happened to get that starting job from Milroe, and they try to put that in order? And my next question was, is it too late to go out there and get the guy back for offensive line and give him the NIL and give his girlfriend that scholarship or whatever money she wants to go to law school? I'm just asking for a friend. It's not for me, y'all. It's for a friend. I just need to know if it is, I'll sell a couple of my trucks to get the money for him. Whatever we need to do, I'll get her a scholarship. I'll even pay for the scholarship right now to get her in. I don't know what it is, but hey, I'll chip in as an alumni. I'll chip in. I'll call my Qs. We all chip in to get him back. Whatever we got to do, we'll do. And I'm gonna hang up and let y'all talk.
Thanks, Alan. DC, I'll let you respond, and we got to get to break.
Well, I think Alan is frustrated with the play calling as much as I am. I don't think it was called well. I don't think it has been called well to play to Milroe's strengths. I don't think Buckner was told that he would start at Alabama. I do think that Tommy Rees liked him, wanted to give him a shot. What X said earlier, I think Tommy Rees has been lobbying for him to give a shot to him. I think a lot of this stuff that Coach Saban has said or done, I will be honest and say I think it's been influenced by the transfer portal. I think he's made some decisions that that's been influenced by that. So I don't know how to say that any better than that.
All
Bottom line,
go ahead.
I said on the bottom line, I think that I think the decision he made to bench Milroe caused much more frustration than he intended for it to do. But I think as you started this show off, there may have been a purpose in what he was doing, but I think it blew up on him. And I believe the only thing that saved it so far has been that team meeting. And we'll see. From what I heard from yesterday, the players had a different attitude. It was different. And I think that Jalen Milroe is going to be able to play with a different attitude. He doesn't have an X on his back. He doesn't have a short leash, whatever you want to call it. He has confidence in himself, and he has confidence in his team. And I think he can go out there and play within his strengths and lead this team in a really good position. You said you weren't saying that he could win the national championship, but I'm saying he has the potential to win the national championship. I don't think there's anything has been done so far that has told us we aren't going to have an opportunity to compete for a national championship. So I think if he goes out there, we definitely have that. But it's not all Jalen Milroe's fault. We're going to have to get some things corrected on the offensive line and then play calling.
I got to get the break. Let me break and we'll pick that conversation up on the other side. I think that this is definitely Saban created drama, good, bad, and different. I do think Tommy Rees lobbied as part of his deal coming here that he could bring Buckner with promises. I believe that, and I believe that we saw that played out Saturday. So, and I think he kept lobbying, and much like the Cooper Bateman, Kiffin wanted Cooper Bateman. Did Saban play it out in front of the rest of us to prove a point? Maybe, maybe not. But it feels that way. The only thing that makes sense and makes me trust the leadership and decisioning, because nothing else makes sense other than that. To me, there's a misnomer about this quarterback and his inability to read defenses. I think that this coaching staff has failed Jalen Milroe, and I'll tell you in what ways I think they've done that. Maybe they correct it, and we see a young man soar, much like we saw Jake Coker soar. I'll give you more thoughts on that coming back on the other side.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, no active wrecks, but paving work is slowing traffic on 2059 westbound from about mile marker 81 into 77. Now, if you see conditions, give me a call. Get $2,000, $5,000, up to $8,000 in instant savings on cars, trucks, and SUVs. Now, at Townsend Nissan, they're your family in the car business. And I'm Captain Ray.
Here's what's trending on the Tuscaloosa thread.
Good Tuesday morning. The Home Care and Home Healthcare Company, Help at Home, has 1,100 clients in Medicaid in Alabama. The company announced it would cease operations in the state on September the 30th, citing the current reimbursement and regulatory environment for Medicaid-funded home care, which has made it difficult for the company to recruit, hire, and retain employees. Governor Ivey says Alabama does all it can, but can't afford to expand Medicaid coverage. Click TuscaloosaThread.com for more. Don Hartley, Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
On the next Inside the Locker Room with Coach Wimp Sanderson and Barry Sanderson.
Tune in Tuesday. We'll have Kevin Skarpinski at 7:30. We'll break down the Alabama game at South Florida. We'll look forward to the Ole Miss game with Kevin. Also, 8:15, the best in the business, Jack Crow, will join us.
Inside the Locker Room, weekdays 7 to 9 a.m. on Tide 100.9 and Tide100.9.com.
Lord, I'm craving some real Cajun food, but there's nowhere to go in T-Town.
Man, you don't know about Weedat's? New Orleans style Cajun chicken, shrimp, and that Weedat fish. It's now open at University Town Center, just steps from the Strip.
I'm on my way to Weedat's now. It sounds delicious.
It really is. Weedat's has Cajun style fish, chicken tender, shrimp, and is home of the Watson wings, buffalo and lemon pepper flavored. Don't forget, Weedat's has amazing fries served with every order. Get your fries topped with bacon, cheese, jalapenos, ranch, or even fully loaded. Only at Weedat's, open Monday through Saturday.
A Rottweiler named Whiskey with hours to live brought back to full health. A terrier named Snoopy, paralyzed in all four legs, who ran and played again within months. These dogs are known as Marty's Miracles. Dogs brought back to health by Dr. Marty Goldstein.
I've helped countless dogs thrive with one simple concept. Your dog needs a high-meat diet similar to what their ancestors ate in the wild.
Called the Miracle Worker by Forbes magazine, he's now created a premium dog food for you called Nature's Blend. It's the easiest way to support your dog's easy digestion, nourished skin, playful energy, and most importantly, their healthy, full life. For a limited time, save up to 54% off Nature's Blend and get free premium dog treats. Go to drmartypets.com/deal or text DEAL to 511-511. Text DEAL to 511-511.
I'm so confident your dog will love it. Your order is backed with a 90-day guarantee.
All pets are unique. Your pet's results can and will vary. Message and data rates may apply.
Keep it locked into Tide 100.9 for more of the Martin Houston Show with Martin Houston and X's and O's Sports Xavier Houston.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show. Hey, Taco Casa, quality, taste, and value under the biggest cactus in town. 6 locations in Northport, Tuscaloosa, West Alabama to better serve you. Make them your choice for lunch and or dinner. 40-plus years and counting of doing it the right way every day. That's Taco Casa, tacocasa.com. DC, tell them real quick where they can find you, sir.
Well, DCCapstoneReport.com, DC Capstone Report Facebook page. You can follow me on Twitter at DavidCott50. And check out Lance's other sites for OldTimeBama.com or FreelancePictures.com. And the podcast is already up. It went up yesterday.
All right, Joey, we're going to bring you in, let you ask your question, then we'll disconnect you, but we'll respond to your question. Joey, you in on the Alabama One hotline. What's on your mind, sir?
Yeah, Martin, I don't want to get in on Milroe. I have my opinion there. But what I do want to ask is why has nobody, your show included, spoken positively about Simpson's play?
Because what do you want me to say positive?
Let me finish.
That's what I asked you. What you want me to say?
4 passes be incomplete. One was thrown away. One was a screen pass, and it was destroyed from the beginning. He threw it at the feet, so it was intentionally incomplete. He guided that team and ran the plays that the offensive coordinator told him to play. His passes were more crisp. And he had 2 80-yard drives without fumbles or turnovers or bounce passes. And nobody has complimented him.
Hey, let me tell you something. And I'm not, Joey, I saw nothing that made me think that he could lead this team. Milroe did the exact same thing against Middle Tennessee, but at a much higher level. He got sacked 5 times by
I didn't
South
want to get
Florida.
on Milroe. You don't want to. I have my opinion, but I'm talking about your treatment of Simpson.
I didn't see anything that made me think he could win.
Simpson won the game, had 2 80-yard drives, which I hear from announcers and experts is it's hard to have that many plays without mistakes and turnovers. So that's
he ran at one drive. It was all run.
He completed his passes. He outplayed Milroe. You don't want me to get started on Milroe. I'm talking about your treatment of Simpson.
Joey, can you let somebody else talk? Joey, just give me a second. One of those, if Roydell Williams or Jace McClellan had gained 65 to 70 of those yards, you wouldn't care that Milroe was out there at quarterback. You would not care. So why do he led one drive where he had a 45-yard completion, and then the rest of the yards were on the ground.
Let me ask you this,
80-plus yard drive.
Let me ask Joey this. Joey, do you think Ty Simpson gives Alabama the best chance to win?
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's your opinion.
I mean,
Ty Simpson
the best athlete at quarterback? No.
I didn't say anything about athlete.
But Simpson was clobbered in the back at minimum of twice because
of him.
Didn't even slow down the defensive end.
The same thing was happening against Texas, and you said nothing.
Then why are you saying Milroe can do it? Milroe
because he did it against Texas. He got away from that. Man, what's his name would have been sacked every play against Texas.
You're assuming that too.
Yeah, I am. Because I have a football eye, and I saw that Simpson never ever. He doesn't have a pocket presence. If a guy can't block,
Milroe, everybody around us were saying he couldn't play pop corner football.
Yeah, okay, that's why he's a starter this week. Thanks, Joey.
Starter, and guess what? Next week, one of us will be able to say, "I told you so."
Yeah, well, maybe. Hey, listen. I didn't say Milroe was great. I said Milroe gives Alabama the best. No, I didn't. I said Milroe gives us the best. Saban said, who gives us the best chance to win? That's what I never said Milroe was great. Not once have you heard me say Milroe is great. I said, which guy gives me the best chance to win? And that's Milroe. Because you have a bad offensive line, they can't block.
All you've done is badmouth Simpson.
I have not said anything really about Simpson, except for I don't think he can win.
But he did.
So did the guy before him.
No, Milroe didn't.
Milroe beat Middle Tennessee.
Middle Tennessee State is a better team than South Florida, and Milroe put up 40-something points in 3 quarters against them. Ty Simpson against a team that went 1-11 last year struggled.
So you're saying Simpson's win doesn't count, his Texas loss does? Woo, wow. Thanks, Joey. DC, what's your thoughts on Ole Miss?
Well, I think Alabama's got a
and you can respond to that. You can respond to that if you want, and then tell me about Ole Miss.
Oh, I respect Joey's opinion. Everybody has an opinion.
Absolutely.
I don't agree with it, but I'm fine with it. I think Simpson's the second best quarterback in those 3, and so I'll give him that much. But I don't think he has. I think the lights are a little bit too bright for him right now. But it's not to say he's going to be a great quarterback down the road. They were too bright for Mac Jones in his second year too. So and he's now playing in the NFL. So I think Simpson has an upside, but he's not the best quarterback to win this year. Milroe is the only quarterback on the staff that could do that.
And I think Simpson has the potential to be a better passer than Milroe.
Oh, most definitely.
When he learns to handle the lights.
Yeah,
but he doesn't handle the lights well.
Just like it did for Mac Jones, I think it'll come down the line. But anyway,
agree.
Milroe, let's get to Mississippi. I think Milroe gives us the best opportunity to beat Mississippi. Mississippi has a formidable team, but I think 2 things we can take advantage of. I watched the games and I watched the film. I think Alabama can take advantage of running the ball if we dedicate ourselves to running the ball in this game and allow Milroe to do some run-pass options where he pulls the ball and runs. A great opportunity to take advantage of some soft defense up the middle in the way. I think Tulane showed that. Georgia Tech showed that. Opportunities for us to really do that. I think we have an opportunity also to stop the run. If we can stop the run against Ole Miss, people really are how great
20 seconds, DC.
People are really to focus on the passing, but you got to stop the run in this offense in order to stop the passes and make them one-dimensional. If we do that, I think we win the game. I think Alabama wins this game big, 44-27.
Hey, DC, and I'll say this: if Alabama doesn't go all in with and try to make Jalen Milroe, Ty Simpson, or any other drop back passer, we will be having a conversation, and Joy will be able to call up and have his victory shout. But if they're going to make this guy
on the fact that they let Milroe be Milroe and don't try to make him somebody else.
Absolutely, and that's my thing. If they try to make him what they've tried to make him thus far, Joey, call me back on Monday and tell me I was wrong, because I will be wrong.
And don't forget to check out my sponsor, Karen Cottingham. I forgot to mention that, our realtor here in Tuscaloosa, Karen Cottingham, 205-887-4008.
All right. Hey, I'm Martin Houston. That's DC Capstone Report. That's Xavier Houston. That's Noah. Thanks to all the callers, listeners, viewers, and chatters for calling in. Hey, we're here every day. We'll be back tomorrow to talk more about it. Hey, I'm going to talk about it. A 120 defense versus a number 4 team in the country. I think I'm going to go with the Milroe kid that had us up at one point in the fourth quarter against Texas versus the kid who got us 17 points against USF. That's my thoughts. You can call me back and tell me I'm wrong on tomorrow, 205-342-9904. Remember this, trust in the Lord always, lean not your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths. Harvest Church, loving God, loving people. Roll Tide, everybody.
Thank you for listening to the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app. Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, no